loves. Welcome back to Chemistry with Kismet Tarot. I'm Monica, the Kismet Chemist. If you are new to my channel, welcome to the family. It is an honor to have you here. If you are returning, welcome back. I have missed you. All right. So as I was doing my introduction, as you guys could see, there was some smoke billowing. I did do some Palo Santo cleansing. I am going to make sure that the intention is set so that if you choose to allow for it to cleanse your aura prior to starting this video, you can absolutely set that intention and welcome that cleansing in. Today we are getting messages about your dark divine feminine energy. Now, throughout history, the feminine energy, the divine feminine energy, and especially the dark divine feminine energy have been skewed in perception. We are all moving through a new day and a new age, and with that comes greater levels of wisdom and clarity. The dark divine feminine energy is one in which we all contain within ourselves. We all contain these parts of ourselves, this energy. And the dark divine feminine, though in the past has been portrayed as evil, witches, black magic, and things of that nature, this is a shadowed version of what the dark divine feminine energy is. In truth, what the dark divine feminine energy really is, as it is a divine feminine who walks with her shadow, who talks with her shadow, who is one with her shadow. She understands that there are times and places in this world and in our lives, in our journeys, in which we need to establish stronger boundaries. We need to prioritize ourselves. And this is why this is labeled the dark divine feminine, because for eons, really, feminine energy has been portrayed as meek, weak, humble, subservient, or responsible in the sense of needing to answer to a stronger power. As her energy rises more and more into the collective, we're able to access these parts of ourselves, gaining greater awareness, greater clarity, and growing into a stronger version of ourselves. With all that said, we have 4 piles today. We have Lilith with a crossroads rune, Enheduanna, I believe I am probably butchering it, but she is pile 2 with the romance rune, Joan of Arc with the scythe rune, and Rita of Cassia with the sun rune. The collective energy is denoted by the waves rune, which means this collective energy that we are working with is about the water, the flow, the power, the majesty that is water and the element of water. The waves rune can talk about when things get whipped up and storm surges hit and we can feel overwhelmed, ripped asunder. But for this collective energy, it's about recognizing that oftentimes the ocean is a very physical representation of divine feminine energy. It ebbs, it flows, it rises, it recedes. You have the rip currents that are very dangerous. You have storm surges, hurricanes. But when you have a very calm, clear day, water as far as the eye can see, clear blue and shimmering. There's a softness, a gentleness. The oceans are cleansing, but they are also meant to be honored, respected, for they hold power, mystery, and secrets in the depths. This is much the same as the divine feminine. So with all this in mind, what I'm going to do is let you allow for that information, that channeling, to help you be swept on a wave to which pile is right for you. I'm going to go ahead and turn on meditation music for you guys, and the timestamps will be in the description box below. I'll see you at your piles. Hello, Pile 1. If you chose the first card, the card Lilith, as well as the Crossroads rune, this is your message about your divine feminine energy. So this middle card, this core card, represents the core of your divine feminine energy. It's also being paired with the Crossroads rune. Lilith and the first woman. This card says, I am the voice of my body and soul. I choose to live the life that I desire to live. And you can use this as a manifestation intention or just a simple intention to help you, an affirmation intention for you to really tap into this energy, to flow with it, to learn from it. Between the Crossroads rune and Lilith, Lilith's story is one that over the years has been vilified over and over and over again. She was the first wife of Adam, and she wished to be created or to be treated as an equal by Adam. She said, we are both created from the same place, and therefore I'm not meant to be subservient. I am meant to be your equal. And Adam disagreed. And so in some stories, Lilith left with the archangel Samael. In other stories, she became a demon. She became the first demon, the mother of all demons. Over and over and over again, historical and religious studies have painted her as a villain, as the bad guy. One moment, guys, I gotta let Willow out. Okay, guys, I am back. Thank you so much. So over time, over many resources, Lilith was painted as this dark person, this dark entity, because she used her voice, because she wanted to be free, because she wanted to live her life as she desired. She didn't want to have to answer to someone who was meant to be her equal. And we have seen, at least I have, as a adult who grew up Christian, that she's not even in most of the Christian Bibles. And Eve was made from Adam's rib cage and therefore was meant to follow him. Eve too painted in a negative light. Lilith and the Crossroads talks about the options that we have in life, the choices that we have in life. how we get to them, how we come to them, and what it means to make that choice. What it meant for Lilith to make the choice to be strong, to be true to herself, to stand up for what she knew was right for her. It meant leaving everything that she had known since she was created. Sorry, guys. I had to have a firm parent talk with Willow. She is acting out. Now, when we have a choice to make in our life and we feel like, how am I going to make this choice? Is it right for this person or right for that person? Even though you know it's right for you, this is when your dark divine feminine energy comes up and it says, I want to be seen and I want to be acknowledged because I am here to help you. We don't always understand this part of ourselves, or we can look at this part of ourselves as being an intrinsically negative thing. But the truth is our dark divine feminine energy is there to help us learn. It's there to teach us how to be strong, how to be true, how to be personally empowered so that we don't continue to live our lives in a sense of obligation or subservience to what someone else wishes for us or wishes for themselves from us, but rather what is right and true for us. And not everybody is going to understand that. Not everybody is going to be okay with that, because not everyone understands what equality really means. And equality means that we are all created the same. It doesn't matter what the outside dressings look like. It doesn't matter what the sexual proclivity is. It doesn't matter the race, the religion, the ethnicity. It doesn't matter the gender or the gender preference. What matters is that the same blood that flows through my veins is just as red as the blood that flows through everyone else's. And that means that we all are meant to recognize that this is the thing that builds and blends us together. We all have ancestry that dates back generations, flowing through our blood, all the way back to the origins of everything. And we forget that. We forget that we all came from one place. We get split down further and further and further as the generations go, and we forget the unity and the equality of all things. And so we paint those that we don't understand or those things that we fear in a negative light, things like Lilith and her story, where we paint it in this toxic energy, this toxic light, as though if people just fear it enough, they won't do it. And then there's more power to those who remain in power and less power to those who are not. And there's no balance and there's no harmony. But this is about you choosing. This is about you recognizing that you have the choice, because the ancestry that you hold within your very blood, within your very bones, within your very heart and your very soul goes all the way back to the origins of everything. To man, to woman, to this world, to this universe, to this galaxy, to the planets, to the stars, to the first beat of the heart of the divine. Which means that when you come to a crossroads and you're taking everything into consideration, your dark divine feminine energy is what awakens to help you become aware of your own personal power, of the choice that you have in prioritizing yourself. So we're going to look at each side. This is the conscious side, and this is your unconscious side. With the conscious side, we have the expression of your dark divine feminine energy and then some advice on really embodying that. On the unconscious side, this is a way that you're not fully aware of, that you have the ability to tap into within yourself and express your dark divine feminine energy, and some advice on tapping into that. So let's take a look at the conscious side first. And this is, it says she who, but we are going to be reading she in the sense of the divine feminine energy. and that is not gender related. So it says, she who resists, adaz, fearless, justified, and resistant. All right. So consciously, you're aware that there is this energy within you that says, if this isn't right, if this isn't true, if this doesn't fit with me, I am not going to do that. I'm going to operate in the mode that is absolutely right for me. I'm going to leap into the unknown. I'm going to fight for balance, fight for justice. I'm going to resist those forces and energies that work against my ultimate fulfillment. And with Lilith being the core of your dark divine feminine energy, this is very, very true to Lilith energy. So you being consciously aware that you have the core of this energy is a beautiful thing to witness. So let's see what advice they have. I actually just heard, sometimes we can resist to the point of becoming the thing that we are resisting. It's important to remember resistance for revolution is significantly different than resistance out of fear, anger, resentment, or simply needing to be right. And I'm not trying to call anybody out. Check with your guides, tap into your intuition if that resonates, but that was a direct message. So we have get creative. Ooh. And then we have dream thief, refusal of the call, 13. Okay, I love that there are wings and feathers on both of these cards, but the advice here is to say, again, that message of resistance for revolution is the right way to go, but resistance for the sake of vengeance or anything other than really revolutionizing it, you become the thing that you resist. You refuse the call. The more that you fight against the forces that feel like they are robbing you of your creative endeavors, they're robbing you of the dreams and the wishes and the goals and the hopes that you have in your life. They are robbing you, or they're robbing other people, and they are operating in a mode that isn't balanced, that isn't justified. There is no justification for the ways that some people operate. And I 100% recognize that. But the more that you sit and you fight those things, and you fight and you fight and you fight, and you don't do anything proactive in the sense of embodying the opposite energy, creating the awareness through becoming what is different, becoming justified, becoming balanced, becoming harmonious, creating the life, the more that you're resisting your dream, but then you're also running that risk of the potentiality of becoming painted as the bad guy, because you're fighting with a noble cause. You're fighting with a noble heart, but the mind is creating this distortion that you have to fight in a different way. The most noble way that you can fight is by fighting for yourself, fighting for your power, for your dreams, for your wishes, for your hopes and goals in life, and saying, you may stand against me. You may be the perpetrator of this crossroads energy in my life. Yes, I understand you're creating this disharmony within my life. Because I don't control everything in my life. I control myself. I control my actions and my reactions, but I do not control everything else in my life. So someone outside of you may be creating the disharmony. They may be creating the crossroads moment where you feel like you are stuck between a rock and a hard place and you don't know which way to go and everything feels overwhelming. And you want to resist that crossroads energy, but the resistance to that crossroads energy is to resist your ultimate dream life, to refuse the call to go a different direction. Because when someone puts you between a rock and a hard place, what you do is you say, you know what? I'm going to take the hard place. I'm going to take the rock. I'm going to bash them together. When I bash them together, the rock is going to shatter and the hard place is going to soften. And then I'm going to recreate this. I'm going to make a crystal grid with the pieces of the rock. And I'm going to harness that energy to take this once hard place, now soft place, to be a safe place, I'm going to do that instead. So if you want to continue coming towards me, watch what I can do with what you bring towards me. Watch how I can recreate that into creativity. Watch what I can do with this energy that you keep pushing and pushing and pushing at. This is a way that you know to do this. You know to resist in this way. But when we resist in this way, there are times where we get tired, we get exhausted, and especially with the waves rune being here for the overall collective, we are trying to swim against the current. And we know that we're meant to swim against the current because the current was created by someone else. Someone else's current, it's not ours. We know that to get to our current, we have to go against the waves. But when we swim against those waves, it gets tiring. It gets so exhausting. So finding that spark again gives you the power to return back to this energy of, oh, I remember what I was called to do. I remember what my dream was. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to find a way to do this. So if that resonates and you're exhausted and you're tired and you feel like you just keep getting beat down over and over and over again, the waves crashing and ripping you and tearing at you, remember that before the wave crashes, if you hold your breath and you dive into the water, you'll dive under the wave. It's a creative way to overcome what keeps getting thrown at you so that you can find the right path, the right flow, and the right current. So let's take a look at the unconscious energy for you guys. She who questions, Amelie, curiosity, destiny, and search. Okay. This just took on a whole different aspect. So if you are continually resisting because you have all these waves coming at you, what if you stopped resisting and went with the flow? What if you shifted through that and went, okay, I'm going to see what there is here. I'm going to learn what there is here. Whatever this is, there is a reason for it. And I said this just last night, like, I truly believe that there is a reason for everything. We may not always know the reason, but there is a reason for everything. And it's taken me a very long time to accept that. It really has. That isn't a truth that I have come to lightly. As a person who has experienced more death than any one person, unfortunately, should, there have been moments where I can't fathom my best or one of my friends from high school getting murdered by his father. I just couldn't fathom that. But I believe there has to be a reason. What is the reason? Sometimes the reason is not for us to know. Sometimes we have to ask ourselves, what is the reason for my life? So with this energy, asking yourself, what's the reason for my life? What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? How can I become more myself from this? And then harnessing that energy and riding those waves. Because before you know it, when you ride those waves, you might be washed ashore to the shore you're actually trying to get to. And even though the path that you wanted to take would have taken you right to that shore, these waves that are overwhelming and they're painful are going to bring you there that much faster. Sometimes that's what we have to look at. Sometimes that's what we're not realizing is calling to us because we're resisting the waves. We're fighting against it. We're saying, no, I'm not going to go through these waves. And when we resist going through these things, then it's like if Lilith resisted her inner urges of, I want to be free, I want to be equal. If she resisted those inner urges, she would have been answering to Adam her entire life. She would not have known her own divinity, or at least not have embraced it. And this whole world might have been completely, dramatically different. We might not be living in a day and an age right now where women and their voices are being risen up, where the divine feminine energy awakens, and both the light and the dark are being seen, being heard, being understood. We might not have any of that if she had resisted the waves, the pain, the anguish of speaking the truth and living the truth. So let's see the advice for you guys getting curious. Oh my God. I promise you guys, I swear, I literally do not read these ahead of time. I don't look at them ahead of time. We have Speak Truth, Spiritual Narcolepsy, my gosh, Falling Angel. When you speak your truth out, when you start getting curious and you start going, you know what, I'm going to try this way. I'm going to go this direction. I'm going to do it like this. Oh, excuse me, I need a tea on. When we do that, we awaken that part of ourselves. We awaken this energy more fully, more wholly, more totally within our lives, within our minds, within our energy. And what does that do for us? That gives us a wholeness. It gives us our power back. When we're speaking our truth, we don't care whether it doesn't make sense to someone else, because it makes sense to us. When we speak our truth, that's how you resist someone else's lies and manipulations and the injustices of the world. You speak the truth. You cut directly through that. And as you do that, you awaken, but you also wake others. Those who have forgotten, those who fall into a stupor and just don't realize how to get out. All right, we've got the Seven of Wands. So these cards are just a message from your divine feminine, your dark divine feminine energy. The Three of Wands. Temperance. The Ten of Pentacles. And on the back, we have the Ten of Swords. Okay. Every moment we feel like this world comes at us and hits us and stabs us and takes something from us, they take a piece of us, they put another sword in us, whether this sword is from someone else or this is the mind's games that it plays, hitting us, stabbing us. Lilith was betrayed by all of humanity for so long, betrayed by them because they painted her in a false light, sticking those 10 of swords in her because everybody wanted to extinguish power. And not power in the sense of power that is misguided and misused, but power of the voice, power of truth. Why? Because they were afraid of their own shadows. This is about you releasing that fear, releasing all the swords, letting go of that point of feeling like if I speak my truth, if I get creative, if I do this, if I do that, if I follow my path, if I choose myself, it's gonna be an uphill battle. It's gonna be things grasping me in the dark. And instead, look at what you have in front of you and say, you know what? I know what my future is and I can be led. She's being led by the bats. They're leading her and she's holding her arm out as though offering, as a vampire, offering to someone else, take this, try this, experience this. Let me show you how to navigate this. And your divine feminine, your dark divine feminine is saying, let me help you navigate. You may feel like you can't see through the darkness. You can't see through the waves and the clouds and the stress and the anxiety and the pain. You may not be able to, but I am uniquely designed and you contain me. I am uniquely designed to navigate this. We can get through this if we move through this together, but you have to choose to accept me into your life. And yes, I could be painted much the same as vampires are in a negative light, but it doesn't mean that I am evil. It means that I understand the darkness, and I too have a form of echolocation within myself, so I can navigate through that. Let me show you how to blend your light and your dark, your conscious and your unconscious. Let me show you how to blend she who resists and she who questions. Let me show you how to blend this base innocence with your warrior, your inner child and your warrior. Let me show you how to mix those two together, because your fulfillment is what you're being called to. Your fulfillment, your enjoyment, your legacy, your truth, your growth. That's what is at stake here. That's what you are asked to choose. What will you choose? Will you choose to continue to let the shadows of others grip at you and tear at you, the swords of your mind and others' actions, reactions, intentions, to stab you, to diminish you, to break you down? Will you keep letting these energies have power, or will you see that I can lead you out? I can lead you to the truth of yourself. I can be both light and dark. I am both grounded and 100% part of the heart. I am a vampire. I am an angel. I'm an avenging angel. I am a loving God. I am a loving goddess. I am a wrathful God. I am a wrathful goddess. I am all in one and one in all. And you can choose to be a part with me, to be aware of me, to harness me, not to harm, not to hurt, not to prove wrong, but to step into more wholeness of the self and your ultimate truth, your ultimate joy and potential and fulfillment and your destiny, your dream. Your dark divine feminine energy wants you to stop being afraid to set boundaries and to say, this is what is right for me and this is what I'm doing, because that fear is ready to melt away, to drift away like the sands on the desert in a straight line wind, to just be gone. It's ready to just be gone. All right, pile one. This is a message from your dark divine feminine energy. I truly hope that this resonated, that this helped you. I want to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you to your guides, my guides, the Great Spirit, for connecting our energies, for facilitating the messages, for helping them flow and helping them reach the collective for pile one. Thank you. Pile one, if this did resonate and you would like to support my channel, you can do that by liking the video, commenting in the comment section below, subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. You can also go to my description box. There are links to donate to my channel. That is another way to support my channel. And you can support my channel by sharing this video and or watching the ads or just letting them run. Whatever you choose, if you choose to support me, thank you guys so much. This community is just so amazing, and I appreciate you guys so much. So thank you. All right, my loves, I will see you at my next reading. Bye. Hello, pile two. If you chose the second card in Hedwana, the High Priestess, it says, I am one with my soul, and my soul is a legacy of love, as well as the Romance rune. This is your message all about your dark divine feminine energy. So pile two, this energy here represents the core of your dark divine feminine. On this side, this is the expression of this energy in your life that you are consciously aware of, as well as some advice on how to more fully embody that, or advice based off of the manner of expression. This is how it holds the potential to be expressed, what's hidden within your unconscious mind, and some advice on tapping into it and accessing it. With this card, this energy, with the romance rune. This talks about the fact that your dark divine feminine energy is one that values the union of the self. And when we value the union of the self, oftentimes we can be seen as selfish. We can be seen as self-centered because we are valuing the core work that we must do at any given point in our life in order to be more consciously aware of our higher self, our soul, our heart, our desires, our destined path. Being more aware of the things that make us tick, the triggers, the traumas, the pains, but also the bliss, the blessings, the joy. All of these things that constitute what it is to be human, have a human experience, but also to simultaneously be divine. Now, your dark divine feminine energy understands that one of the greatest unions in existence occurs with the self. It occurs with the divinity within each and every one of us. And we oftentimes project that inner awareness exteriorly. We project that onto relationships. We project it onto our job, onto the creative passions that we love. We give purpose and meaning to these things based off of a concept and an ideation of wanting to be in union with Him, wanting to be or feel more whole within ourselves because we have these things in our life. But your dark divine feminine energy is one that is so consciously aware of the blessing and the gift that is loving the self. And that isn't always the easiest path because a lot of us have grown up not knowing how to love ourselves, not knowing the proper way to love ourselves. I know for my generation, at least, we grew up knowing what it was like to have the parents who chose work and chose this and chose that. And so they never taught us how self-love looks. They never taught us how self-care looks. And many of us come into spirituality because of a need to heal a lot of the wounds that exist surrounding these ideas, surrounding these concepts, because we don't know how to do it, but we recognize because a part of us becomes consciously aware, or a part of us pushes its way into our conscious awareness. And if you've ever been through a spontaneous, Kundalini activation or a spontaneous spiritual awakening, there are parts of your unconscious that can literally push its way directly through every wall that you may have or continue to try to throw up because it needs to be seen, heard, understood, and integrated. And so those parts of us really kickstart us onto a journey, and we call this a spiritual journey. You can call it a self-healing journey. You can call it a self-love journey. You can call it, the lucky me syndrome journey, whatever you want to call it. The essence of it is a journey into your own spirit, a journey into your own soul, a journey into your own conscious awareness from the depths of what you contain. And this is about coming into union, mind, body, and soul, with all parts of yourself and realizing that none of it has ever been because you are selfish. None of it has ever been because you're being self-obsessed or self-centered. It's because there is a part of you that knows that in order to truly feel bliss, to truly feel the magnitude of unconditional love, you have to feel it internally. You have to understand it internally. We can give and give and give it out. And yeah, of course, we can give it to others. We can do that without understanding what it feels like, because that part of us that we all hold is capable of feeling that. It's capable of giving that because it understands it, but that doesn't mean that that part of us, that unconscious part of us, is within our conscious mind. When we have unconscious wound patterns or repressed wounds that push their way to the forefront, they do so because those wounds are preventing us from feeling love, from experiencing love in every facet that it's meant to. So your dark divine feminine energy is saying, pick me, choose me. I'm literally, guys, I'm watching Grey's Anatomy, so I'm literally hearing Meredith in my head going, pick me, choose me, love me. And that is what your dark divine feminine energy wants. It's okay to choose yourself. It's okay to merge with your soul. It's okay to do the things that you love, to march to the beat of your own drum, to integrate all the parts of yourself, to see yourself as whole, and to love yourself wholly. It is okay for you to open yourself back up to the receptivity of love, not just the expression of it, but the receptivity of it, to recognize love in all its facets, in all its forms, with all its different hats and masks and presentations to you in the world, and to realize that underneath even the worst pains, there's still love. Your dark divine feminine energy wants you to realize that there is always love. Love is. It just is, just like you are. You just are. And you are love. So let's take a look at the conscious expression of this energy. And with these cards, they all say she who, and the she is referring to the divine feminine energy. It is not about gender or gender identity. It is 100% about the energy. We all contain divine feminine energy. So this is the identification in the expression of your dark divine feminine energy out in the world. And it says, she who begins, primavera, launch, actualize, and potential. She who begins. So your dark divine feminine energy is that push that you feel internally. It's that moment that you're like, okay, I'm ready to do this. And then you go and do it. That moment of going and doing is that push from your dark divine feminine energy, because that's the part of you. That is the energy within your divine feminine that knows, I need to take this step. I need to go this direction. I need to launch this project. I need to actualize this dream and this belief. I hold this potential. And because I hold this potential, I am going to begin to embrace it. I'm going to begin to pull it into me. I'm going to begin to express it outwardly. So let's see the advice on how to work with it. Okay, so we have paradox. Ooh, I love this. And then we have the card 54 with the crossing and initiation. So with this energy, it's recognizing that the paradox is everybody talks about the divine feminine energy as being the receptive energy. She's soft, she's quiet, she's withdrawn, but that's not always the case. The paradox is that she is also very active. The paradox is that your divine feminine energy is the one that is the spark of motion, not the one that inspires the spark of motion. She is the spark of motion. She is the one that initiates. She is the one that pushes you. She is the one that does. And Enheduanna actually is one of the most beautiful cards in this deck. I love her energy because she was a poetess, and she is credited with being one of the first female literary authors of all time. She also was the one who initiated combining two different sets of deities in order to help create a more unified nation of peoples when they were coming from two belief systems. So it was combining the deities into one so that everyone could still honor and respect where they came from, but they could also assimilate to a new way of being. And she was the spark of initiation for that. This is about you choosing to recognize the different ways and the different facets of how your divine feminine and dark divine feminine energy actually present themselves. Instead of attributing it to this source, look at it as my dark divine feminine energy is going to initiate this because there is a revelation of a potential here or a time to actualize a vision. And she's going to spark and initiate and launch this motion, this movement, this project or path or belief. And the paradox is that we think of that spark as the divine masculine, but what she is doing is she's sparking it, she's lighting it, she's starting off. And then she hands that over to the divine masculine, because in that way, as she begins, she's becoming more and more receptive at the same time. So she's welcoming in additional information, additional energies, additional advice in order to continue moving forward. So she gets the whole of the picture by doing. After actualization or after visualization, she goes into the actualization process, and then she takes the baton, just like running a relay race, and she hands it over to the divine masculine. And then he has a baton that is completely aware. Now you're in complete awareness of your path, not just what your potential is, but how to utilize that potential, how to create with that potential. The paradox that you're being called to is to do instead of hold back. Because when you're in that divine feminine energy, it's kind of hazy gray of how to operate this way. Do I take action? Am I in my divine feminine energy? Yes, in this case, you are. This is something that you may not have fully realized, but this is how it is consciously expressed into the world. So now you have an awareness to find a trigger point to understanding how your divine feminine, dark and light, flows so beautifully with your divine masculine. So this represents the unconscious, like we mentioned. So let's take a look how your unconscious expresses itself, or could. Oh my God, I love this. She who becomes Eterna. Metamorphosis, transcend, and journey. So she who begins, she who becomes. So as you are visualizing and then moving into the actualization phase, the unconscious part of your divine feminine energy is the energy that wants it to be within you, instead of you being receptive to everything outside of yourself to get more pieces of the puzzle. This is about you embodying it within yourself and then recognizing that this is how it works. This is how I do it. This is how I really fully embody all this energy, is by becoming the energy, by allowing the energy to become one with me. And now we're right back to that union energy, that coming together of all of these different pieces of you in order to become a more whole individual. This is about you becoming all of what you can be. And in doing so, you're transcending all the things that have held you back, all the things that have been labeled as it needs to be this, or it is this or that create paradoxical energy. We don't expect the divine feminine to be the energy that is an exteriorly expressed energy, but you do. You are the paradox, and this is about you becoming the paradox. So let's see advice on how you can tap more deeply into it. I'm sorry. We have soul work. Is anybody surprised? Lay of the land with ancestral wisdom, 34. So this is about you doing the work deep down to access these ancient wisdoms, these ancient knowledges, these ancient teachings. And for your dark divine feminine energy to be Enhedwana, she's literally pulling here and saying, I have all of this deep ancestral wisdom. I know the lay of the land. Allow me to show you how to run the rat race. Allow me to show you how to get out of the labyrinth. Allow me to show you how to navigate through the maze without falling, without coming to a stop. Let me show you the path. Allow us to be one. This path is a genuine calling for your soul. But what happens is you have to embrace doing the work of allowing for the unconscious to come in, looking at the unconscious. I know we talk about shadow work a lot, but when we talk about soul work, this is tapping deeper into yourself. This is tapping into a reservoir within you of unconditional love, and then recognizing that this place exists within you. This is your place. This is part of who you are. This is how you are made and what you contain. And with that, It's for you to learn how to navigate. And then you are the one that gets to create the patterns. And the patterns are what lead you through this initiation, through this gateway, through this portal. It's like you're walking through the gateway and you find yourself at the top of this hill. This is about you taking that initiative, taking that next step, and realizing that sometimes the external steps that we take bring us internally as well. Wow. Pile 2, I love this for you guys. So we're just going to get a message from your dark divine feminine energy here with the tarot cards. Can we get a message for the collective of pile 2? A message from their dark divine feminine. Thank you. Okay. So they want to start with the back of the deck. We have the Queen of Wands on the back of the deck. Now, the Queen of Wands is about your own personal power. This is about recognizing and embracing the power that you contain within you. When the Queen of Wands comes out, this is a calling. It's a calling to recognize what it is that you contain, that spark that you are, that spark of motion, that spark of inspiration, that spark of creativity, that spark that is, I'm going to do this. I'm going to begin so that I might become the embodiment of the ancestral wisdom that I contain within myself. And in doing so, I'm going to continue to move through and do all of that work. And it's going to be a very active thing for me to do, which is paradoxical because I am doing all of this while remaining in my divine feminine energy, that divine feminine empowerment energy. And I'm doing this because I am called. I'm doing this because I know. I'm doing this because it is time. I'm doing this because it's time to cross the threshold into an initiation of a new phase, a new journey in my life. So we're going to take a look at the tarot cards now. We have the 7 of Pentacles, the Hierophant, and Judgment. I want to put that up here for some reason. Interesting. I haven't been called to put a card on this at all until today. So it's like the 3 parts making this romance rune here. This is the center point where everything meets. Everything meets at this Queen of Wands. So the 7 of Pentacles in this deck in particular, it talks about how much work you've been doing, how tiring it is. And it talks about sleeping. So this might be all stuff that is occurring within your own sleep state. So you might be doing a lot of work while you're sleeping, which can leave you very, very drained. So this past for the past 5 days or so, I haven't filmed. I haven't really done much. I've been in bed a lot, watching a lot of Grey's Anatomy, just kind of relaxing, not feeling the greatest. And it's because I wasn't getting a lot of sleep. Even though I would get hours of sleep, I wasn't able to tap into the deep sleep. I wasn't able to really get the necessary rest that I needed. And that's because for the most part, I was having very vivid dreams. I was doing a lot of soul traveling, a lot of astral traveling, a lot of subconscious work. And I know in those phases, the best thing that I can do for myself is to prioritize what my needs are, to love and care and nurture myself. And as I do that, I give myself that rest. Today is a day where I got almost 3.5 hours of deep sleep last night. And that's just the deep sleep, the restful sleep. So I woke up feeling very refreshed. It was very, very needed. One of the things here is recognizing that even when you're taking a break, even when you're resting, all the work that you've done, that doesn't get undone. It's actually more beneficial for you to heed the call to rest. Because in that, you get clearer about your power, your personal power. You get clearer about what you're being called to step up and lead into, to unify within yourself. You are getting clarity on just what is calling to you to decide upon, this journey, this metamorphosis that you're being called to, that your dark divine feminine energy, I just heard the word entices you into. We look at this judgment card, and this judgment card talks about her surrendering to the bite of a vampire, understanding that she is giving herself to immortal life. She's surrendering to this moment in time, to this path, because she was called to it. And she understands that in doing so, there is much that she is giving up, but there is also much that she is gaining. So sometimes we are called to doing certain things because it's time for us to learn our personal power here in the world, to understand the depths, to understand the wisdom, to unify these things, to bring them all together. Mind, body, soul. Mind, body, soul. Mind, body, soul. However you view it, whatever it is it's calling to you. I personally think this is the mind. This is the body, and this is the soul. The soul is calling. It's pulling. It wants to be in union with you. The mind is saying, okay, allow us to get clear. Allow us to have this revelation. Allow these things to come to light so that you can stand on this precipice, on this pillar of ancestral wisdom, of internal wisdom, of soul wisdom, so that you can transcend these patterns, transcend these beliefs, and start loving yourself more. And your body is saying, nurture me to nurture these. Nurture me to unify these. Nurture me so that we can come back to center, so we can come back to ourselves, back to our personal power, back into this understanding of where we need to move, what spark we need to begin, and who we have become. Not who you are becoming, but who you already have become, who you already are, because this is who you already are. And she's been trying to show you that. But when we feel that energy within ourselves that entices us, it pulls us in, and we think, oh God, that sounds so good. That sounds so great. That's exactly what I want. We can start to think, maybe this is devil energy. Maybe I'm just in my head. Maybe this, maybe that. And then we get our minds all twisted, and we end up not being the leaders of our own journey, not being the masters of our own fate, not understanding that we are the Hierophant. So this is about surrendering to the ways in which your mind, your body, and your soul all call to you to unconditionally love yourself, to give to yourself like a spark of initiation, to give to yourself what you give to others. Because while you want to while you want to give to others, you are better able to give to them when you have given to yourself, because you're the guinea pig in that way. You giving to yourself is much the same as learning how to give to others, because we can overindulge ourselves even. You know, as kids, when we go out on Halloween and we trick or treat and we come home, all we want is all that candy. That's all we want. We want to dump it out. We want to just scarf it all down. And we want to give to ourselves. We want to give these treats to ourselves. But if we give ourselves these treats in excess, now we're overindulging ourselves. When we recognize, okay, let me give to myself, but I'm going to limit it to this amount. And then I'm going to wait and do this and do that. When you come back, that next treat is going to be that much sweeter, because now you've done even more work. So now it's time to treat yourself. And so you're recognizing how much is too much to give, how much is not going to get you from point A to point B. You recognize what your boundaries are. You recognize what your limitations are. And in doing so, you're actually recognizing how your mind, your body, and your soul all flow and work together harmoniously. And this is an analogy I really hope it makes sense that you guys can apply to other things in life. So for instance, I really love watching Grey's Anatomy. I overindulged myself over the past week. And so last night I hit a wall where I recognized I really want to watch it. But am I doing this because I'm spiritually called? Am I learning something important from it? What is it eliciting from me? What is it giving to me? And is it becoming something that I am using to escape because I'm tired, because I'm in pain, because my grandma is dead, because life is stressful, because there's a lot on my plate, because my best friend is out of the state, because my husband's super busy, because my kids are being sassy, because like all of these different everyday life kind of things. Am I using this to escape, or is this giving to me and nourishing me? And I'll go through phases where I'll watch TV, and then I'll go through phases where I don't want to watch TV at all. So I'll try and turn it on, and then I'll be like, now's not the time. So in this case, I was giving to myself, and I overindulged a little bit until last night when I allowed myself the time to ask myself the hard questions, to do that soul work, to gain that wisdom. This doesn't have to be something super profound. It doesn't have to be about something super toxic. I 100% don't believe that TV is toxic. I think that we're led to watch certain things for certain reasons. I think we all learn lessons from it. I think it helps us get reconnected with a part of ourselves. When I watch Grey's Anatomy, it's because I need to reconnect with my empathy, because being empathetic, being an empath as I am, gets to wear down on me. It wears down on me because it's hard. It's hard to navigate when you feel all the emotions for yourself, but you also feel all the emotions for everyone else. And no matter how great the boundary is that I put on, who I am as someone who just genuinely cares so much, so I can get drained easily. And it's not because of vampires, and it's not because of toxicity. It's because I love, because this is how I'm built. So I need to recognize that. And when I failed to recognize that this summer, I failed to recognize what empathy overload was going on, because I didn't recognize that I was being shown. And okay. Pile 2, buckle up. I'm going to tell you guys something that only my husband knows. This past summer, I spent most of it in bed, crying, mourning, grieving a brother I never knew, grieving my dead twin brother, grieving my grandmother who had not passed yet, but I could feel it. I could feel it throughout my whole being. I could feel it coming. I could feel its impending doom looming over my head. I could feel it, and I knew it, and I didn't tell anyone because I just couldn't. I didn't tell anyone until a month prior to her dying, and I looked at my husband in the car and I said, something's coming, and I knew it was her death, and I still could not verbalize it because that part of me that is so loving did not want to run the risk of misconstrual internally into blame for predicting my grandmother's death. So I went into empathy overload because I tried to bite off more than I could chew. We do this because we are such loving people in pile 2. If you are here, it's because you're like me, where we just love so deeply, so intensely, that we don't realize when that love becomes overwhelming and when we need a break. And so I put myself into overload, and I needed the time off. And when I needed the time off, I went into a huge spiritual awakening. And in my spiritual awakenings, it comes with a side helping of massive quantities of apathy. So I need to get back in touch with my empathy again to help ignite it, to help restart it. And Grey's Anatomy is one great way for me to do that because I connect so deeply with the storylines, the pain, the anguish, the loss, the hope, the triumphs, all of it. All of it. We shouldn't structure our beliefs of things based off of what anyone else in the world says. What we say should go. And that is paradoxical in nature because you might not have a PhD, you might not have a doctorate, you might not know this or know that, but you do know you. And 1.5 million other people who have way more letters behind their names could tell you something about yourself, but they don't know you. Pile 2, you know you. You know you. You are the leader of you. You know the judgment call. You hold the power. Your dark divine feminine energy is the one that recognizes the limitations, that recognizes the necessary boundaries, that recognizes the need to dive as deep as humanly possible into the hardest shit and then let yourself float and let yourself come back, find the way back and spark it again. Do the work, become the change, whatever you want to say, whatever colloquialism or saying or affirmation you want to say. This is about you coming back to you. If that's what she wants you to know, you're coming back to you now. You're becoming you again. It has been a long journey. And initiation is never an easy journey. It is never easy. Ever. We can think of initiations as like, oh, this is not a bad deal. I'm just going to go through a coronation. They're going to stick a crown on my head and I'm going to have a scepter and things are going to be great. No. An initiation, a crossing through a portal into a new way of being, into becoming the essence of your own ancestral wisdom, the power, the majesty, the magnitude of the power that you hold, the magic that you can wield in this life. Pile 2, your dark divine feminine energy is saying, we downplay these things, but it has not been an easy journey. And I have been with you 100% of the time. And now if you choose to welcome me into wholeness within you, we will conquer the world. Okay. Wow. Oh my God. Pile 2. This is your message about your dark divine feminine energy. This has been insane, incredible, amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for connecting in this way. Thank you to your guides and my guides and the Great Spirit for facilitating the connection between these energies. Thank you for flowing it through. Thank you for helping it move the way that it needed to move. Thank you for everything that this has been and will be. And thank you for everything that Pile 2 has been and will be. Thank you. Thank you. Pile 2, if this resonated and you would like to support my channel, a really great way to do that is to like this video, comment in the comment section below. You can share it with your friends and or family or on social media. You can also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Sorry, I got distracted by a leaf falling out my window. It's fall and I love it. And if you guys are feeling called to, there are links in the description box to donate to my channel as well. All of those are really great ways that you can love and support this channel just as this channel loves and supports you. With all that said, I will leave you here. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. I love you all and I will see you at my next reading. Bye. Hello, Pile 3. If you chose the 3rd card, Joan of Arc, it says, Joan of Arc, the warrior of light. I have a steel-like faith in myself. The angels armor me with conviction. And you can use this as an affirmation, as an intention for yourself, if you choose to. It's totally up to you. But also with the rune, the scythe, this is your message about your dark divine feminine energy. Many of us know the story of Joan of Arc. Received revelation, received a vision, fought as a warrior, went into battle and fought imprisoned and condemned, and then had a retrial and was exonerated. Joan of Arc talks a lot about faith in what is divine within ourselves, faith in what that divinity within ourselves brings forward. She was viewed as a witch, a heretic. She became a martyr. But throughout it all, she did not waver. She did not hesitate. She knew, and she followed that knowing. She followed that truth. She followed that awareness, the vision she was gifted, and the path that she was on. And though fear could have easily come forward, for this was a day and an age where women didn't go to battle. And she said it herself. She would have much rather stayed home and spun wool like all the other women in her village. But she had such conviction about the vision that she had seen and the path that she was called upon, and believed so strongly in her protection from Archangel Michael, from her doing the work that she was meant to do, that she had no option but to follow that, because that was her faith. She was so incredibly outspoken, went so much against the grain, and she was cut down for it, and then she was uplifted for it. Your dark divine feminine energy is one that understands that in order to have that steel-like conviction, in order to have that pure, blind faith in what you see and know, without knowing how you can see it, without understanding how you know it, you just have that awareness within you, and it pulls you almost without your conscious approval, we'll say. It pulls you out of everything that is mundane. It pulls you out of everything that you believed your life would be, that you felt would be right for your life. It cuts away at those like a scythe cutting down the stalks in a wheat field. I'm hearing it separates the wheat from the chaff. Chaff? Is it chaff? Chaffe, I think is how you pronounce it. But it separates the nourishment from the part that nourished it. It separates the child from the mother in order for the child to become an adult. It separates what was believed to be the path in order for the true path to become illuminated, to be walked upon. There are times in our life when we must steel ourselves from the doubts and the insecurities and the fears, from the voices of others, from the perspective and the opinions of others. We must steel ourselves from allowing them to have a say in the journey that we are on. And we must do this and hold tight to what we know is what we are being called to do. And this is because we have divinity within us. This is something that Joan of Arc teaches. We all hold divinity within ourselves. We contain it within. And because we contain it within, when that divinity arises, when that divinity calls, when it shows us or gifts us with the wisdom, or it speaks to us and we hear it, and we know this is the path I'm meant to take. And this path is one that could lead to my ultimate downfall, but it is a path and a purpose that has the power to change the world. It has the power to save lives. It has the power to revolutionize. When we have that calling, we can either falter, fear, doubt, and run, or we rise up like Joan of Arc and swing a broadsword straight through the perceptions that would hold us back. Your divine feminine energy, your dark divine feminine energy, is the one who holds the blade. She cuts through. She gets to the core of what is necessary. She illuminates the divinity, the path, the purpose, the calling. It may not be what your community believes. It may not be what you grew up believing. It may not be any of that. But those that love you will stand beside you, will support you, will love you as you go to battle with whatever forces you need to go to battle with. As you march forward onto the battlefield and you say, this is who I am, and I am going to lead this group, this community, this army, this belief system. I'm going to lead it into the light. I'm going to lead it into revolution. I'm going to lead it into victory because this is what I'm called to do. This is what I know I am meant to do. And this is my conviction. My conviction is steel like my blade. It is unmovable like a mountain. It is unshakable. It cannot be taken from me unless I take it from me. No other man, woman, child, force in this world can take what I know to be true within myself, what I have been shown, what I have been told, what I have been gifted by our Creator, by the divinity within myself. No one can take that from me. Your dark divine feminine energy is the most assured energy I have ever tapped into. This is a blessing. She is fierce, a warrior. And her core energy is this warrior of light card. So this right here, this is going to represent your conscious expression of it. So you're consciously aware of this part of, we'll say it's a part of your personality or a part of your behavioral patterns. This is how she is expressed so that you can identify that within your life based off of patterns and your memories and experiences. This is some advice on how this conscious expression comes into being. Whatever the advice is, it will be tied to this card. I've noticed that this was supposed to be like advice moving forward in the original intention, but when the messages started coming through, it is intricately intertwined with this card for how these will play out in the messages. So we're going to leave it at that. This side represents unconscious energy. So this is energy that you contain within yourself, but it's still in the recesses of your energy, of your mind, of your heart. It's parts of you that you know you contain, but you don't consciously express it. So this is the unconscious expression that is waiting for you to tap into. And this is advice on how to more fully tap into that, how it might illuminate, how it might change. Again, these cards seem to be intricately intertwined with these cards. And I didn't explain that to any other piles but yours. And I feel like with your pile, the reason why I'm explaining that is because this cannot be cut from this. This cannot be cut from this. And these cannot be cut from each other. What can be cut away with this scythe is everything that blocks your ability to access both sides. That's amazing. I love this energy pile 3. I'm here for it. I love it. All right, let's take a look at your conscious expression. She who thrives, orchid, and it says flourish, prosper, and blossom. All right, and when I say she who thrives, both of these cards are going to be the she who, and it represents the divine feminine, and in this case, the dark divine feminine energy within you. It is not gender specific. It has nothing to do with gender identity. This is about energy. We all contain these energies within. The dark divine feminine is just one expression, one part of the personality or the energy contained within the divine feminine overall. And the divine feminine, just like the divine masculine, are parts of ourselves as well. So this is just kind of like it's like we're taking slices of something. So I've been watching a lot of Grey's Anatomy, and there was an episode where they were working with bodies that had been donated for their study for science. And they were working with the human brain. And so they take the brain and they put it in formalin so that it can solidify over a given amount of time. I think it's like 2 weeks. And then they take it out and they slice it down so that they can study how the different sections of the brain look. But then so the brain is you in essence. And so we are taking a slice of that and looking at the divine energies. Now we're taking that and we're slicing that again so that we can look at the divine feminine energy. Now we're taking the divine feminine energy and we're slicing that so we can look at the dark divine feminine energy. And looking at these two, this is looking at that tertiary or that third slice of energy, so that dark divine feminine, and we're putting it under a microscope. This is really cool. Are you guys like medically inclined or scientifically inclined? Because I love this. I love this. I could talk nerd with you guys all day. But I want to take a look at the advice for this, which is the first time that I have been called to pull the advice cards and then channel the message. So you guys are definitely operating on a completely different frequency, a completely different realm of energy and energy expression, and one that it's increasingly tangible. So with the scythe rune, I keep getting these actual visualizations of using a scythe and cutting down in a wheat field. Before combines, before all of that, it's cutting it down piece by piece by piece in order to create hay, in order to create, food and get the grains and everything like that. But you're cutting it down piece by piece. And I keep getting it in a very tangible way. So to me, this is about the energy of really making this incredibly tangible for your life. So you break it down into the minutia in order to essentially take the minutia and blow it up into the physical world. Are you guys working on manifesting something? I don't want to dive too deeply into that, but with flourish, prosper, and blossom, as well as the way that this is very much about making things tangible for you, it feels a lot like there's a lot of manifestation energy here. Interesting. So we have trust. This is that steel-like conviction we were talking about. 5, closing door and completion. Okay, so right now there's this energy of the conscious expression of your dark divine feminine energy is the awareness and the trust, the conviction, just like we said, the conviction in what needs to be completed, what needs to be cut away, what needs to be closed. Because an adventure awaits, but you have to have utter trust in closing the doors, but not just that, in the truth that when we go through a completion journey, that it is completed. When we vacillate on that, we actually welcome that energy back into ourselves. And when we welcome that energy back in, then we can actually restart that entire journey. It's like going through the major arcana. You go from the Fool all the way through to the World card, and the World card is completion. It is closing this door. But if we don't allow ourselves the complete blind faith and steel trust in that completion, that cycle being done, what we do is we leave that door open. Now that door is still open. We have not fully closed it. Your dark divine feminine energy is going, no, I know exactly how to close this door. I know exactly how to cut this away. Why? Because I know what we need to do to flourish, to blossom, to prosper. I know what is needed for a true victory, a true growth, a true revolution. That word just keeps coming through. Revolution for you guys, a true revolution. True victory comes in faith, in trust, in belief. And people don't understand that these days. Why? Because there are so many bad things in the world. There are so many negative things. And there are so many people just spewing negativity everywhere. And I know I'm the kind of person who's like, hurt people, and we need to give them compassion. And yes, we do. Absolutely. But there is so much of it out there. There's so much that it can take hold if we choose to keep ourselves open to it, if we choose to doubt, if we choose not to believe 100%. So when the people say, well, how do you know? This can't be true. You're a heretic. You're blasphemous. This is nonsense. You're crazy. Blah, 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 blah. You say, I know. I know. You don't need to explain how you know if you don't feel called to it. All you have to do is step 100% fully into a state of trust. Trust in what you have done. Trust in the doors that you have chosen to close. And if you find that these doors don't seem to want to latch, take that scythe and cut the freaking handle off so that it can't be opened again. If the tongue is stuck in the door frame and the doorknob can't be twisted, door stuck shut. Cut away at anything that would give it the opportunity to open again, and then trust what you know you have closed. In a big way here, your dark divine feminine energy is saying, we know exactly how to cut away lack. We know exactly how to cut away victim mentality. We know exactly how to cut away the people, the places, the energies, the things that do not serve us, that do not help us, that do not have trust and faith in us, that will not help us flourish and blossom. We know exactly how to close this door to complete this cycle. What it takes is trust. And this is not trust in another person. It's not trust in the divine. It is trust in you. You must first believe in yourself. It is so easy to put blind faith in the divine, in a higher source and a higher power. It is so easy because this world is filled with stories of people who have done that. So that is the norm. That is the easiest thing to do. But to have complete and blind faith, complete conviction in yourself, in your visions, no tangibility to it. You have to provide the tangibility for yourself in whatever way that you can, because you are meant to do something. You're meant for something. What it is thriving. You're meant to thrive in this world. What does that mean to you? And do you trust yourself enough to be able to live that way? That's one of the hardest things to do. This is why I keep getting manifestation energy with you, which is very unexpected. I figured this was going to be all about the battle, but this is about creation. This is about the life. This is about the path. This is about the purpose. This is about knowing what is right for you, what is meant for you. This is about knowing what this world has to offer for you and being open and willing to take it. You've got moths and butterflies. It's about being willing to literally break yourself down into goo and then cut yourself out of that and spread your wings and fly, closing the door to the goo phase, closing the door to the caterpillar phase, closing that door and saying, I'm done transforming. I have transformed. I trust my transformation, and it is time for me to spread my wings, to flourish, to blossom, to prosper, to thrive. I'm done surviving. It is time to thrive. That's what your divine, dark, divine feminine energy expresses herself as. And that can be an energy that's hard to tangibly hold on to. Sorry, guys. I get a little bit finicky about whether this is like aligned right. So I just had to shift it a little bit. But let's take a look at the unconscious here. She who hesitates, Mora, pondered, delay, and confidence. Okay. So this is where that holding pattern is unconsciously. And usually the unconscious is a part of you that you can tap into. But this is about the part of you that holds yourself back. Can I do this? Do I have what I need to do this? Am I going to be able to achieve it? Is this really completed? That question right there. I just saw like a stop sign and was like flashing. And I literally saw that question like written out in my third eye. And then it started flashing like, is this door closed? Is this really completed? Is it really done? When you ponder, is it really done? It's not done. Because when something is done, when it is completed, there will be nothing left but trust, because there won't be any energetic entanglement to pull it back into that. So the part of you that is unconscious right now, your unconscious is actually in a way working against you. It's slowing you down from thriving because you need to close out this point in which you feel as though I can't do it. It's not time yet. I can't do it. I need to think on this a little bit more. I need to consider this a little bit more. I need to do more. And this is the way that a healer gets. Am I ready to start healing others? Am I ready to start sharing my gifts? Am I ready to start my business? Am I ready to do this? Am I ready to do that? And maybe I need to go and take another course, or maybe I need to do a refresher, or maybe I need this, or maybe I need that. And you get in your head and you go around and around and around on this, mental spiral, and you hesitate. Your dark divine feminine energy wants to be expressed. She wants to be expressed bad enough to come to you in the form of Joan of Arc. She who thrives. She is what helps you to thrive. But when you're afraid of it, when you're not confident that you contain it within yourself, that's when she falters. So let's see the advice on how to overcome that. Aha, soul work. And benefactor, grace and generosity. Okay. Recognize that your dark divine feminine energy is not something for you to doubt. It's not something for you to hesitate on. It's not something for you to have disbelief about. That energy you contain within yourself. This is how you exteriorly express it, but inside, you pull yourself back. So you could be expressing, I've done this, I am this way, I am that, all of that. And then internally, you could be having what I would call imposter syndrome. And how can you overcome that? By recognizing that you have divinity within you, that you have all these different pieces that are your benefactors. They are here to help you see your grace, help you see the generosity of spirit, the generosity of your own soul, the generosity of your own heart, to help you see and understand and move with crystal clarity into trust, into completion. You don't need someone else to do this for you. You don't need someone else to prove this to you. You need to prove it to yourself. Okay, wow. Hard truths today, it feels like. But pile 3, let's get a message from your dark divine feminine energy. So we have the Ace of Wands. This is just a message, whatever advice she has for you, whatever wisdom she wants to pass along. The Knight of Wands. Ooh, okay. The 10 of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords. Sorry about the barking, guys. On the back, we have the 4 of Cups. Give me just a moment. Okay, I apologize. They might still bark. I don't know if you guys can hear it. It's pretty loud, and I'm pretty sure you can. But there's a group of kids walking by, and, they are the little notification team. Anyways, the core energy that your dark divine feminine wants to talk about is about not recognizing the gifts being brought to you, not recognizing the blessings and the bounties being brought to you, when we lose something, when we struggle with something, even look at this, the Five of Swords, this talks about sabotage and betrayal, the Wheel of Fortune. So we can feel like we were destined for nothing but hardship, sadness, loss, betrayal, torment. But when we're in that energy and we feel like we've lost what we have been seeking, that we won't have it, we can't find it, it's not there. The level of sadness, of doubt, of insecurities, they just become so overwhelming. And it can be hard to move through that. It can be hard to be graceful through those experiences. You contain the ability to do that within yourself. So right now, your dark divine feminine energy wants you to let a new idea take flight, to be sparked, to have that inspirational energy just fill your mind, your body, your spirit, your soul, everything, just become all consuming, this blaze of knowing. Just like Joan of Arc, she just knew and she just blazed forward. She did what she had to do. She knew, she was inspired by the divine, and she moved with clarity. She cut away everything else, cut away all the mentalities that are holding you back, because the 10 of Pentacles, I mean, like I said, this is about you thriving, prospering, becoming prosperous, prospering. I don't think that's a word. Becoming prosperous. This is about you living the life that you desire, the life that is called for you, the destined life and path that is right for you. This is about everything that you have fought and worked for, but it's also about your worthiness. Joan of Arc, as your core dark divine feminine energy, is saying it doesn't matter the exterior world. It doesn't matter how many. It doesn't matter if you're surrounded by a murder of crows or an unkindness of ravens. It doesn't matter. They can swoop in. They can distract you. You can have all these messages from all these places coming in, but none of that matters compared to your own mind, your own truth, your own knowing, your own faith, your own conviction. If you know you are worthy, then you are worthy. Close the door to doubt. Close the door to hesitation and step into thriving. Take that first step onto that new path. Trust your footing. Trust your wings. Let yourself fly. Go at what you want to go at, because the pathway, once that door closes, the pathway is you popping right out of that tree, and now there's an abundance. Now you are abundant. You are walking embodiment of abundance. Your dark divine feminine energy is ready to be that spark for you, to be that inspiration for you, to be that blaze for you to cut away everything that doesn't count anymore. Every mentality, every conditioned belief set, everything that would hold you back, every fear, every worry, all of it, so that you can see the growth that you have done, so you can really, truly see how much work you have put in, so you can see how graceful you have been, so you can see how much you have been the one to contribute to you, above and beyond anyone and everyone else, so that you can trust in the completion of the past, the lack, the loss, the pain, and trust that you have moved forward to thriving. No longer in survival mode, but thriving, happy, joyful, and experiencing life and all of the abundance and blessings it has to offer for you. Pile 3, this is the message that I have for you from your dark divine feminine energy. Come back anytime, please, for real. Like, you guys are freaking amazing. I want to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you to your guides, my guides, and the Great Spirit for facilitating the connection between our energies, for helping these energies come into a tangible form to reach all those in the collective of Pile 3, spread through the collective of us all, so that they may receive these messages when they are meant to. Thank you. All right, Pile 3, this is where I leave you. If you found resonance with this message and you would like to support my channel, I would truly appreciate that. You can do that by liking the video, commenting in the comment section below. You can also share it if you want to. did I mention commenting? Because I want you guys to comment because this is really cool energy. You can also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you feel called to hitting the notification bell, please do that. Feel free. That way you guys know when I upload, so you don't have to like sit and check YouTube on a regular basis if you guys aren't inclined to do so. And another way would be to go to the description box, check out the links to donate to my channel. Or you could watch the ads or let the ads run in the background. Any of these things, all of these things, they're all different ways of you loving and supporting me the way that I try to love and support you all. Not try, I do love and support you all. Sorry, guys, that would be my hesitance. I'm still working through it. So your energy really did inspire me. So thank you very much. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys. I'm going to leave you here. I hope you have a beautiful day. I love you all, and I will see you at my next reading. Bye. Hello, pile 4. If you chose Rita of Cassia, who is the patroness of impossible causes, it says, I am miraculous. My prayers create powerful channels of possibility, as well as the sun rune. This is the message about your dark divine feminine energy. Now, this card has so much light. She even has a slight smile on her face. So it can be hard to envision dark divine feminine energy as being one of such beautiful light. And if you guys can see it, I lit Palo Santo prior to this and it went out and then it got a second wind really to blow again. It's very interesting. That doesn't normally happen. And a lot of the smoke is kind of lingering, even though there is a lot of airflow in this room. It's kind of just swirling around in the room right now. With Rita of Cassia, especially with the waves rune being here, and I literally just saw a wasp outside my window. There's so many messages here for you guys. Holy Pete's. Okay, we're going to start with the wasp and Rita. Rita of Cassia's story is one that could be seen as quite dark. One of pain, of suffering, of martyrdom. She was forced to marry at a young age, had her first child at the age of 12. Born to feuding families, and over time she had 2 children, and her husband had a great revelation and changed his ways, became a better man. But the family that was feuding with her own could not see beyond the pains of the past, and they killed him. And her 2 young sons wanted to take vengeance into their own hands, take justice into their own hands. They wanted blood for blood. Unfortunately, they both became ill and passed before they could seek that. Fortunately or unfortunately, it's unfortunate for their loss, fortunate for their plan. At the age of 36, Rita, a widow, lost both of her children as well, was left to herself. And she wanted to go into the monastery to become a nun. And she prayed and prayed and prayed on it. She was told that she would be welcomed in, but first there needed to be amends made with the family to end the feud, the family that had murdered her husband. And so she prayed on it. And I believe it was the bubonic plague that had swept through the area. Both families had lost so many to illness that it became quite simple to put the feud away. What is the point of feuding when there are greater works at play. Rita is a story about forgiveness, about the beauty of forgiveness. And forgiveness for someone like her can be a hard concept. She could have become much like the wasp. She had been hit and hurt over and over and over again. And she could have chosen to hurt others because of it. And instead, she chose the power of prayer, of faith, of belief in the light, in the goodness, in miraculous things. She believed in things that were impossible. You hear all the time about bumblebees, and if you get stung by a bumblebee, the bumblebee dies. But when a wasp stings, it can sting you multiple times, and then it goes about its business. But a wasp is like anger. It hits and leaves a mark, and hits and leaves a mark. When we hold on to the pains, when we hold on to the losses, when we hold on to the traumas, we can become the wasp. Whether it's stinging others or stinging ourselves, it doesn't hurt us. It doesn't hinder us. It doesn't kill us like it does the bumblebee. It takes nothing. But then you go about your business. And then there are others who see that and they want to stop you. They want to end you. They want to spray you down with wasp killer, if so to speak. Your dark divine feminine energy is one that understands that the darkness is not one that stings. It's not one that holds on to anger. It is one that revels in the joys of forgiveness, in the blessings of forgiveness, that shines through the light of forgiveness, that shines through when you've been stung over and over and over and over again. And yet you still choose to continue shining your light out, that knows that the sun will always break through the clouds. No matter how long the clouds have been there, it will break through. Forgiveness is such a hard thing to fathom when you have been hurt by another person, hurt to such depths, when you have undergone depravities, when you have undergone traumas, when you have undergone true awful things that are at the hands of another person or other people. When you have suffered so much, forgiveness can seem like a slap in the face. I used to feel that way. I used to feel that way all the time. I will never forgive my abusers. I will never forgive my ex-husband for what I suffered. And yet I did. I did. I've forgiven everyone. I've even forgiven myself. And those are hard things to do, forgiving yourself, forgiving other people. But it's not because we're letting anyone off the hook. You're not going to ever let yourself off the hook, but you will fight to be better. You will work to be kinder, to be brighter, to shine love. Nothing is impossible, even forgiveness. And that is what your dark divine feminine energy has to say. Like you can forgive. You don't need to forget, but you can forgive, and you can choose the power of the words that you speak and the love that you hold and the light that you have to shine forth, because that is what creates possibility. Nothing is impossible. You are not impossible. And you may be somebody who cheers on the underdog through everything in life because you know what it's like to be the underdog. It's a beautiful thing. Your dark divine feminine energy is one that it doesn't pander to the light. It takes the darkness and shines it out. It shines the darkness out. It doesn't turn the darkness into light. It says, look at this darkness. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it brilliant? Isn't it powerful? Isn't it miraculous? Isn't it incredible? Oh, wow. Pile 4. You have a very integrated divine feminine energy. It's a very beautiful thing to witness. On this side, this is the exterior expression, and here is the internal expression. So how your pile is actually flowing differently. I can already feel the energy shift. So this is the external expression. And this is just some more information on it. This is the internal expression of the energy and some more information on it. So let's take a look at the external first. Oh my God. I swear to you, I do not look at these prior. She who forgives. And the she is representing the divine feminine energy, not gender. It says elixir, remorse, guilt, and forgiveness. So let's get a look a little deeper. We have speak truth and dances on one foot with a balancing act. A balancing act. Remorse, forgiveness, guilt, forgiveness, a balancing act. The healing elixir is not forgiveness. Forgiveness is the healing. The elixir of that is to speak your truth, to balance your truth out with the ultimate truth of all. Yes, it can be hard. Yes, this life is like one big dance of events, one big show of situations and circumstances and people against people and people against the man, so to speak, quote unquote, the man, but when we stand up in our truth and we say, I did this, or this happened to me, and I have the grace to forgive. I have the grace to let go. I have the grace and the balance to say, this is what I need for me, and this is what I am willing to give for you so that my life can be as full as possible. So I can shine my light out, but your light can shine as well. That is a powerful energy to share with the world. And that's what you share with the world pile for. Knowingly or unknowingly, this is the external expression of that energy. You understand the nature of truth, which is that it's ever fluid, ever changing, and it's dependent upon each and every one of us. We say that there are universal truths, but those truths are only universal if the universe totally and completely accepts it. And we can have a perspective that is dramatically different than the person standing right next to us. And our truth is different than their truth. And we forget that. But I feel like you don't. I feel like you hold that awareness within you at all times, in all places. You bring that awareness out into the world, that we all have our own truths, and it's what forms the basis of our entire existence. So you are the one that preaches about letting things go, because we cannot be in balance. We cannot dance our beautiful, majestic dance if we are holding on. We can speak truths about things that have occurred without still holding on to them. That is the nature of being able to speak truth, in my opinion. In my experience, we speak about the things that we have gone through, and we do that not because we're still holding on to them, but because we have learned from them, and they are a lesson that we can use to teach others, to show others, I understand you, I see you, I hear you, I am here with you. I stand in solidarity. I stand in truth, stand in light, and I am here with you. You're not an impossible cause because I wasn't. And we may not all go through the same experiences, but we go through similar things, and we find resonance in those similarities. And we find the beauty and the blessings and the balance in the differences. And when we are able to see that we are both light and dark, and when we are able to see that everyone is both light and dark, if we choose that as our truth, we see that everything has a balance. So for every hardship, there is a blessing. And we have to make that choice. Each and every one of us have to make the choice to see it that way. And not everybody will. Not everyone will. Some people will always choose to see This is the depravity that happened. This is the hardship that happened. This is the pain that I went through. This is the wounds that I bear and that I carry. And it was all done to me and it is all bad. And some people are just going to go through their life that way. It is not for you to convince them of something different, for that throws you off balance. It is for you to stand as a beacon of light and share the truth with the world. Nothing more and nothing less. You change the world simply by being, not by trying to elicit a change or push on a change. And that's what Rita did. She didn't try to force a change, say, this is what I need for me, and haven't you seen all that I have suffered? No, she called upon divine help, divine wisdom, divine grace. She allowed a lesson to be learned all on its own and accepted the blessing from it. Let's look at the internal expression of this energy. She who is wild, sauvage, untamed, wild, and mysterious. All right, and then we have ask body and falling angel with spiritual narcolepsy. 919 might be significant for you guys, or 911, ones and nines. This is the first one where the numerology has really had a play. Internally, it's your body who tells you, what have you been sleeping on? What have you been resting on? Have you been forgetting this, forgetting that? It's time to wake up to this. It's time to wake up to that. It's time to dive into the mystery. That is why you understand it. You see the sleeping nature of so much because you contain the wisdom and the awareness of where things are being slept on, where things are being forgotten, where grace has been lost because we forget that we are gracious. We forget that we are graceful. You're able to see that, and your body tells you it's time to move, it's time to flow. Internally, there is this energy that might run rampant, and therefore you might feel weird sensations from time to time. I know for me, one instance that's coming to light is the Schumann resonance impacts me deeply. And I didn't understand that it was impacting me until I learned about it. I was led to learn about it. But I noticed there are times where my body will feel so off kilter and I won't understand why. And then I go and look at the Schumann resonance and it's doing crazy things. Like right now, the last time I checked it was around 1:30 this afternoon on the day that I'm filming, and it was blackout energy. And so I was like, oh, okay. So that would be why yesterday I was feeling like really overwhelmed with energy, that like it just was so heavy. It was too much. And so I chose to do very little. And we got a break in the clouds where it came back down into 27 to 5. And then it went blackout again. And with this blackout, because I had time to rest, because there was a break in the clouds, the sun broke through it, I was able to listen to my body to get the sleep and the nourishment that I needed in order to come back alive. But I don't understand how it works necessarily. I just know that my intuition tells me it does, and my body tells me that it does. Internally, your divine feminine energy says that there is nothing that is impossible in your life. Your body will tell you what to do. It will show you different things, different mysteries you can't possibly fathom on a conscious level all the time. But that doesn't mean that it isn't true. It will wake you up and help you become more yourself for all of the things that you want to do and help you shine that light out more fully into the world. It's a very beautiful energy, pile 4. So now let's get the tarot. And I want to, this is just going to be messages from your dark divine feminine energy. What does your dark divine feminine energy want you to know? We have the Page of Swords on one side and the Four of Pentacles on the other. And in the center, we have the Seven of Cups. Okay. The Four of Pentacles usually is a card about holding on to things and fearing change and fearing the loss of stability. But what I'm seeing here that your dark divine feminine energy wants you to know is that there can be a lot of distractions from you focusing on the choices that you want to make, focusing on the things that you need to focus on. There can be distractions all over the place. And then you come to the world and you have this brilliant idea and people call you youthful and naive and you don't know the truth, especially when you're coming forward and you're sharing your light and you're saying, this is the power of forgiveness. There are going to be a lot of people who are like, yeah, you don't have any idea, except that you do. You do know. Why? Because even your choices are getting pulled and battered at, just like this card. The bats are yanking at her, pulling at her, distracting her, pulling her away from the choices, away from the potential, away from the power within those cups. Internally, it's like there's a part of you that's holding on to as much grounding as possible, because when you have as many shakeups as you do, the wild, mysterious nature that is your dark, divine, feminine energy, that wild nature that understands how to integrate, it can get a little bit scared. But like I said, you guys have one of the most integrated divine feminine energies I have ever witnessed, I have ever interacted with. The only thing that she wants you to know today is that you don't have to hold on quite so tightly, especially to the opinions of others. You're not asleep. You're not unaware. Yes, there are distractions, but sometimes the distractions are there for a reason. Sometimes they're there to pull us into the awareness that we need to let go of the things that we don't need. In this case, there is an energy here of adventure being woven into your life moving forward. The things that you want to experience and the things that you may have said, well, that's not going to happen. Those things are coming alive within you now. They're waking up so that you can physically experience them. Your body is like a great divining rod. And I know I've said this on my channel before. It's like a great divining rod that knows the direction it wants to take, and it knows that in order to do so, you've got to wake it back up. For some of you, this could be helping yourself through yoga, through Pilates, through breath work. For some of you, it's just taking a walk outside. For some of you, it is not moving quite so much and resting. Whatever it is, however your body is calling to you, that is the most important, prominent energy here, because you can speak your truth out into the world all you want. That's an external energy, but balance comes from listening to the internal too. When you listen to the internal and then you share with the external, that is where your grounding comes from. That is where your choice becomes clear. That is where you harness your potential instead of pondering it. You have a very powerful energy, especially your divine feminine. And I just saw 2222 on my clock, and there's always one pile that has twos in it. But she is an incredibly powerful energy contained within you. I'm very impressed. I don't have much more here for you. There aren't any other messages coming through beyond shine your light, because nothing is impossible. You already know that. So pile 4, I want to take this time to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all the work that you do on yourself. Thank you for the work that you do for others. Thank you for just shining who you are out into the world, and for sharing your energy on this channel so that I can bring forth these messages. Thank you as well to your guides, to my guides, and to the Great Spirit for facilitating the connection between our energies so that I can bring these messages forth, so that they can reach all those in the collective of pile 4, spread far and wide, who are needing it when they are ready for it. Thank you. Pile 4, if this resonated and you would like to support my channel, I would truly appreciate it. You can do that by liking this video, commenting in the comment section below. You can also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you know whenever I upload a video. Another way that you can support my channel is going to the description box, going to the links to donate to my channel, and donating if you feel called to. You can also share this video. or watch the advertisements that pop up. Any and all of those things really do help my channel grow. They help me continue to pour into this channel, all the finances and resources, financial resources from this. It just goes back into the channel. So thank you again, you guys. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being on my channel, for being you, for continuing to shine that light. I truly hope that this helped you and that you found resonance in it. And with that said, I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you at my next reading. I love you all. Bye.